Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my channel Science and Technology. In today's show, Camera Tuesday, we're going to talk about Panasonic Lumix S1 Mark II. So let's dive deep into it. So this is a new launch where they have launched two basically bodies and one lens. So this is Panasonic Lumix S1 Mark II and S1 Mark II-E Essential. According to Panasonic, according to normal people, it's economical. So basically S1II, the reason why people are excited about it, this is Lumix, which they have stacked sensor, partially stacked sensor, basically exactly like a Nikon Z6 Mark III. So it does not give you full YOLO performance of a fully stacked sensor, but does not have the same rolling shutter as a non-stacked sensor. So it's something in between. And it's expensive. Like for what it is bonkersly expensive. It's like more expensive than Nikon. $3,200. So this puppy is expensive. That's why there is a S1 Mark II Essential, which is non-stacked. Basically take the same body and yeet the sensor, put a normal non-stacked sensor. That drops the price from $3,200 to $2,500. At the time of making this video, there has no announcement of the price in India. So sorry about that. So I cannot quantify, but these are expensive camera, like expensive kind of expensive. So this has a 24 megapixel, and if you're like either you're happy with it or not happy with it. If you're not happy with it, you are not happy with it, you do not have to watch this video any further than that. But if you are happy with it, or you're like, this might be worth it, it has whole lot of features, meaning in terms of feature set, this is one of the most thorough feature set camera there is. Like that's how many features it has. Like way too many features, bonkersly large amount of feature. Basically translation, unmatched video performance, and on top of that it also has cooling fan, meaning it can be used in India without worrying about overheating issues. So that's a really genuine good advantage. And in terms of stills also, it has 70 fps burst, which makes it for this sort of camera kind of really good for sports photography. And it has dual tilt and flip screen, which also makes it desirable for a lot of photo nerds who are like, what, I want my screen to be in optical axis of the lens. Double tilt shift, you do not have to worry about it. So it's a really good feature rich system, meaning the one word that comes to the mind when we are talking about this is a feature rich puppy. And yes, it has dual card slot, one CFast Type B and one micro SD, full size SD UHS-2. So let's understand this beast a bit. So it's one of the best IBUS. Now be mindful, IBUS is so good in Panasonic system because they have the most experience. Before anybody even understood what IBUS was, Panasonic and Olympus, they were making Micro Four Thirds and they were trying IBUS very early on. And I'm talking like 15 years ago. So they are very fine-tuned and refined. Like they're so basically, Panasonic is so refined, they know that every sensor, full frame sensor, has some amount of buffer area. That buffer area is consumed by lens aberration, so to say. So they're like, hey, the aberrations are not really that bad, so what if we capture that and then allow you to crop less, basically, video output? That can be done. So they did that. So this is genuinely good. Not only the cropless part of it, but also the fact that the physical sensor algorithms are really good. So IBUS is genuinely good. A really great dynamic range, especially in video. Now, dynamic range in stills is not that big of an issue because you have such a high bit rate to capture. Like the raw files is so comfortable that you do not have to worry about it. It's like even if it's like not switching to high gain circuit or low gain circuit when it needs to, it still would be good. Like that's why people generally do not talk about dynamic range when it comes to stills. We good, but video, it's a completely different ball game. So this has very good dynamic range in video. That's the awesome part. And very low rolling shutter for its sort of price. Now, is it mind-bending, really great? No, it's not global shutter, and again, not a full-fledged track sensor, but it's good. It's good category. It's really good. And it has good autofocus. This was the only reason why Panasonic is not a very big deal, given how many models they release, is that because their autofocus was never good. That was the biggest mistake they did. They never jumped into phase detect in Micro Four Third, nor they did it when they jumped into full frame. That was the biggest mistake they could have done. So autofocus is a bit behind schedule, but it's good. It's first time it's reaching a point where it's like, it's good. And it has very high hit rate, meaning if you are using burst rate of 70 fps, there is a good chance that most of them will be in focus. And USB-C video recording, this is a life-saving function for people who do a lot of video regularly. For example, like me, I consume SD card. I never used to understand that, but again, once you do it again and again, you will realize that writing video files, big, heavy, chunky video files on memory card wears the flash shield down, and it will reach a point where it's no longer stable enough, and it will slow down. Penalty of that would be your camera will stop recording. I don't ask me how I know. And again, it will happen with everything. UHS-2 is supposed to slow it down because it has more than enough data bandwidth, and use modern cells should be a bit better, but again, I'm still burning through them. And you buy V90 card and you have to wear it down by like 2-3 years, you'll be like, yeesh. Especially if you are like me, where you're doing every day in, day out. So yeah, in those sort of scenario, SSD recording is like sure to take money. Not only it's faster, economical, better, simply because it's a PC hardware designed for 10 times read and write operations compared to a SD card. So they're like, ta-da! SD recording, only Blackmagic and Panasonic does that. And this time Panasonic has went one step better. It's like, hey, what if you are just a still shooter? Would SSD recording would be useful? Absolutely. Why? Well, you have 2 cards and you can just plonk the SSD and just dump all the data into SSD. And then you can pass on the SSD to either keep it as a backup or pass it on to someone who can do editing live. So that's a really good smart way. Not only just like, oh, we have USB recording, which we had for a few years at this point in time. No, we are upgrading also. Really good. And it has finally webcam IC. You have to understand, every camera technically can do webcam. Heck, even this camera can do that, but it will have autofocus box, or I have to disable autofocus. But removing that part, if you just want to plug a USB-C cable, plug a USB-C cable into your laptop or a desktop and it just works, that requires a basically protocol IC. That IC talks to your computers as in universal webcam. It will work with Mac, Windows and Linux without requiring any drivers. Basically, the default driver will work with it. That was not there for some reason, even though Panasonic is the most commonly used stream camera back in the days, not now. Back in the days, it used to be, not anymore. But again, they have finally added that chip. Thank you, meaning you just buy this, plug a USB cable, ta-da, webcam. So that's onboard high-res mode is for stills. Be mindful, whenever you take a color photo, it's not truly true color photo. All it is like a unit. That unit has one green pixel, one red pixel, one green pixel, one blue pixel. Like, wait a minute, why double green? Our eyes are sensitive to green. Our basically how we have rod cells and cone cells. In cone cells, we have double the amount of cone cells in green. We are ludicrously sensitive to green. So that's why the sensors have to replicate that. Otherwise, it looks off. So, or unless you have 3 sensors, then it looks perfect. But if you can't have 3 sensors, you have to double the green value. So we have 50% accuracy in green, 25% accuracy in red, and 25% accuracy in blue. So what can you do? Assuming you are using a de Beer algorithm, what can you do? Well, you can move the sensor. You have IBUS, you can move it. So basically, lens be here, and you're like, okay, this light photon particles are falling in this red pixel. I'm moving it up. Now it's falling into green one. I'm moving it left. Now it's falling in the blue one. Now I'm falling another green one. So now that way you can create true color images. So it's again, the megapixel scale up, it's bogus, but at least you get true color definition. And for static subject, it is night and day difference. Meaning if you have very high fidelity static subject in an indoor environment, a perfectly lit scenario, you will see a big difference. And because again, IBUS is so good, you can do that still while you are hand holding it. But again, you do not go like this, but like hand holding it. It can still pull it off reasonably good. Try to do it with static subjects. Do not try to do it with things that are blowing in the wind. So really good system. And it has open gate for more flexibility. Basically how all action cameras are doing open gate. Open gate simply means YOLO sensor, the full sensor. You are paying for the sensor, you're getting the full sensor, not like a 16:9 then and you're letting top and bottom go away. No, full sensor. The benefit of full sensor is that you get 4:3. Why 4:3? Because that was the film, the 35mm film format size. So everybody just guessed that. And benefit of that is you can crop in post without requiring overscaling. So you can have normal video 16:9. You can have overstretched video, which people generally do if they want to make sure that their YouTube videos is watched in mobile phone. Mobile phone will instead of 16:9, it would be 19:9 sort of. And then you can have square videos for some scenarios, and you can have vertical videos for some scenarios, and all of them will have different data. So people will be like, oh, I did not see that. Oh, I did not see that. So it does not look like, oh, you're just stretching or cropping. No, it actually looks like you shot for it. So that is really good in terms of flexibility. Be mindful, it's a kind of common thing nowadays for even 360-degree cameras, but having this for a full frame camera, it's desirable. It's a good thing. Panasonic is kind of good in that regard. So video features, there is no point talking about it. It's like it has everything that you can think of. like flat out, the end. And for this sort of price, you really can't even compete about it. And it has full size HDMI, same battery that they have been using, USB-C charging also, and headphone in and microphone output, so you don't have to worry too much about it. Now, be mindful. This is the first thing I'm gonna say about this camera. Be mindful because it has way too many options. Meaning, if this is your first camera, you're gonna throw it away. So it's way too many options. Like cinema cameras have less option. You can download RE Alexa's basically manual, and trust me, you'll be like, wait, only this many menus regarding video? It's like, yeah, only this many. And here, I'm like scrolling in a web page, man, and I have a metal scroll wheel. Even that was like, bro, it has so long. It's like bonkersly large. Like they should have removed 90% of that. Like there is only one optimum and one optimized. That's the only two options you have from a digital sensor. Having too many options is like, bro, have some options should be left at post-production. You should not put that in camera. It is way too many, like way too many. It's like, it's like, I get it, it looks awesome, but it's like, it's horrifying. 19 pages you have to scroll in the camera. So it's not good. Another aspect is burst is so fast, but they did not improve the bus bandwidth. Basically, you have your SoC, you have RAM chips, and RAM chips are dumping data to SoC. SoC is dumping data to your memory storage, be it SD cards or compact flash CF Express cards. So that CF Express card has a bus. So basically, there is a data bandwidth bus from SoC to your storage. That is slow. Even though you have basically CFast type B, which is dual channel, that's why it's B. You have Sony one is A, it has single lane PCI Express. Sorry, NVMe single lane, this is NVMe 2-lane. And yes, that's the same NVMe as your computer. You can find adapters that allows you to take that into your normal SSD. It can be done. So it has dual lane. So this is not the weak link. The weak link is that data pipeline is too goddamn weak, not good enough for 70. Like not even close to good enough for 70. It's like, now wait for 35 seconds. It's like, why 35 seconds? This can is like easily handle that. It's like, nope, I can't handle it because I'm not receiving the data. So burst is too slow. Basically, it will give you a very poor experience. And you can't slow it down. That is the really weird design decision. It's almost like when you looked into Sony A9 Mark III, it was really refined. Like unlike Sony, it was like somebody sat down and it's like, okay, let's figure out how to use it. So 120 FPS was really good. It's just that, yeah, if you keep using that, you will reach a point where it's like you will run out of space or your card will be like, I'm waiting, man. So they have figured it out. It's like you has a overdrive mode, meaning most of the time, let's say you select whatever you are comfortable with. You are comfortable with 30 FPS, go YOLO on it. 30 FPS most of the time, there was something interesting happens, you go into what we call this mode, overdrive 120 FPS. And because of global shutter is the camera that showed that Trump shot, that literally is from that A9 Mark III. So you design a camera, a feature has to be optimized for it. And if you're like, hey, 70 is too fast and we do not want to make the motherboard more expensive, cool, no problem. But have some lower options. Don't have this half-assed option where it's like, hey, you can reduce the speed somewhat. Like you can go from 70 to 60 if you increase the bit depth from 12 to 14. It's like, it was really poorly designed. And autofocus spot tracking just does not work. It will remind you of DSLR days, like how my this Canon 800D is. So yeah, that's weak. And almost every YouTuber is like, yeah, no, just no. And video still pulses. I have no idea how the heck that's possible. But again, this was the biggest mistake they have done. It's like if they had jumped into face detector early on, they would have refined, iron out all the kinks. I've seen multiple people and they're like, yeah, especially in outdoor and they have lights in the background, it's like pulsing. I'm like, why? Again, it's not as bad as it used to be, but still, like if you're coming from Nikon, Sony or Canon, you'll be like, huh? So be mindful of that. And rolling shutter is good, but if you want to use dynamic range boost, then you're like, nope. Oh, one another thing, if you are ever dealing with a camera, you are happy with this camera. Let's just say you are still happy with this camera, you want to buy it, but you are worried about rolling shutter. Change the axis of motion. For example, a rolling shutter camera looks a perfect global shutter camera if you rotate the axis. For example, if I'm, how do you think movies are shot when you have a car scene going on? Okay, you all have car and you'll have cameras here on a second car. So it's going like this. Cool. Motion is like this. Cool. Awesome. But here's it. They will not have camera like this. They will rotate the camera. The reason is then the motion is flowing literally on the same axis as the shutter readout. So it looks just, instead of a line going like this, it goes flat. Like it gives you more of a motion blur. So that's actually good. So that's how we used to use basically digital cinema camera long before the rolling shutter became as good as it is now. So it's just remember that, like, make sure the axis is same. Like if you're trying to pan up, rotate the camera. So panning up is normal. You will not see. That's why people always show you like this. Rotate the camera, then it's not there. Zoom it up and down, not an issue. That is one way of solving it. Basically, if you have that camera, again, many people with red camera, they will just also lay it down. It's like YOLO. So rolling shutter is good, but you must use it without dynamic range, or otherwise it's like, So that's there. And cost is very high. Like that's the part where it's like, not good. Like for the price, for what they are offering, it's like not that good. Because yeah, it's one thing to say it has everything in video. It's like, does it have really fast rolling shutter performance? No. Then 10,000 features does not matter. It's like the source is crappy. It's like it can do 70. Can it actually handle that? No. Then it's meaningless. So that's why the price, because it's more expensive than Z6 Mark III. And the fact that Sony A7 Mark V will be released before this year, or at least announced before this year. So, and again, most people are expecting, I'm never expecting a Sony to give a USB-C recording or 32-bit float. But if they can give me 4K 60 without crop, I'm good. I'm good. So that's the whole point. Like it does require you to be a bit mindful. So like you can do a lot of things, but you have to know those things and you have to be ready for that. Basically, it's like a Blackmagic camera with even more video functions. Now, the reason why Panasonics are not catching a break, so to say, is because everything they are doing is half-assed. Like I'm going back from like their jump from Micro Four Third to full frame. That was a big jump, and they half-assed that also. They did that in 2019 and still forgot to jump from contrast to face detect. So that half-assed effort literally lost them the like early advantage they could have had, like flat out. So that was the biggest mistake they could have done in this whole new lineup. And after that, they never make one model. They're always like, they make one model and they're like, what if this, what if that? And they just make that one model into two model. So basically they make this camera, they're happy with this. It's like, okay, what if this does not sell? Okay, throw away the sensor and put a normal cheaper sensor and make it S1II. And be mindful, this time at least they are throwing away sensor. Other times they were not even throwing away sensor. They are like just default block out some features. So they had S5 Mark II and S5 Mark II X, where they're like, let's unlock the features. I can guarantee you, if you look into like their motherboards, they will be more or less same. If not, some places will be unpopulated. And you're like, okay, that's how business is. No, that's how a healthy company can do that. When you are not selling it enough, you can't afford to do that. That is the reason why a S1 Mark II is so expensive. When you double it up, you double your cost also, meaning now you have to have double the warehouse. Now you have to pay every government double the money, because again, you have double the registration. All of those things pile up. You can just eat this and just reduce this price and be happy. But no. And again, one time they have done that, like it's becoming a pattern with them. It's like even on their Micro Four Third, they are doing that. Like we have this body, but we have some extra here. It's like, oh, but they are splitting the cost. No, they're just doubling the cost. Like imagine Sony A9 Mark III comes into the market and they're like, hey, this is a global shutter. We do not know whether people will like it or not because it is two stops poor compared to rolling shutter system. So what if we have the same body and just change the sensor? Nobody will trust that. Like this. Like think about it, like Red also jumped into global shutter, but they did not like, okay, this is one and then we have a fallback. No, this is it. Go with it. We're gonna polish everything. And again, now they have reached a full frame global shutter, which actually has a dynamic range. I have no idea how the heck they figured out dynamic range, but they have same dynamic range as a normal rolling shutter with global shutter. So this sort of approach really pisses people off. It's like, can you imagine like accidentally you saw this was cheap and you thought it was a sale, or again, many times companies will show sale 1%, 2%. You're like, sale this S1 Mark II, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna buy this, and then it's like, why it's slow? Oh, it's E. This is a really bad thing. And again, that year is also very big for audio industry because this was released. Zoom first 32-bit float recorder, meaning you no longer have to worry about audio levels. Like that is gone. The end. Done. You do not have to worry about. That was the first one. And every other company started to release that. Panasonic became the first company to incorporate 32-bit float in one model before this. They're like, cool, awesome. They just did not did it with USB. I'm like, why? You can have this and no professional is going to record audio on your system, because while Panasonic is good, these are like, bitch please, you are not nowhere near ourselves. So Why? And again, that's the whole point of digital data. It does not matter. There is no gain, boost, or anything. Once the data is digitized, you do not have to worry about it. And analog to digital converter, that is the magic part. That's why mix pre's are so idiotically expensive. Because, and again, I can guarantee you, same way I'm screaming, I can guarantee you the engineers there also is screaming, sir, 32-bit, cool, you want to sell that extra block, $400 extra block, cool, awesome. How about you sell that and you also sell a hot shoe to USB or audio interpreter, or just make up some random name, and then we can do that. Because again, if you do it here, you lose the SSD recording, which again should not be an issue, because you are using CFast Type B, which is far more resilient, far more cost effective compared to CFast Type A. So they could have done that. They still could have made profit, but they're like, nah. So everything, again, you put 70 FPS burst, but you do not test it, you do not validate it, or worst case scenario, you do not even give a stable option where it's like, hey, cool, 70 is like, flagship feature. It's like, you should do like, 30 or 45. You can keep doing without any issue. So that sort of thing is like just half-ass. And fundamentally, ecosystem matters. Like many Indian reviewers will look into like a B&H and all that, and like, okay, you can buy L-mount Alliance lenses. Technically, yes, they are announced, launched and all that, and sometimes Sigma lenses that are L-mount, they're a bit cheaper. I can guarantee you in 50 of the Sigma stores that are in India, I can just go and buy Sony E-mount lens without any issue. And if I try to L-mount, they're like, are you sure? Like there are a few big ones that will have it, but most of the places is like, are you sure? We don't have it in stock. It matters. The ecosystem matters. So on paper, they have a lot of lenses, but again, Leica lenses, you're not gonna buy. It's idiotically expensive. Sigma lenses are the only high quality lenses, and Panasonic lenses, not great, not terrible, really not good. So ecosystem is really not that great, and that translates into cost, which comes and creates another bottleneck. Basically, right now in my small hometown, I have service center for Sony, Nikon, Canon. I do not have to worry too much about it. And in Panasonic, good luck. So after sales support matters, and whenever you are in integration with your peers also matter. For example, if every photographer in my area is using Sony, I will use Sony. If every photographer is using Nikon, I will use Nikon. Many times it happens, and again, you want to be in your peer group. Does not matter every single photographer has the same thing, but generally you want to be in your peer group, especially if you are coming from photography colleges or like cinematography colleges. Again, that's why they generally will not see a lot of variation. Indie photographers they can risk it, but like if you are working team collaboration, you want to make sure the equipments are cross compatible. And again, it helps you, like you can have focused your kit lenses, and some days like, bro, I would really love if I had let's say a sports lens. You can call up another guys like, hey, you had sports lens, do you have anyone I can lend? You can do that. It matters. Those are the small things matters, and that's why Panasonic is always in that loop. First, they are half-assing it, which again from 2019 they have still not learned. And again, making one model and splitting it into only increases cost, and which cost is passed down to us. And I was like, I should just look into, and you're like, okay, it can do raw, it can do, like most of the people are not doing raw, trust me. Like raw seems good, it's very good for testing and all that. Most of you have no idea how heavy raw is, and most of you do not live like Linus Tech Tips where you have petabyte server. So trust me, most people are not doing raw. And that's the whole point. Like, this is the reason why I'm not that excited about Panasonic. It's like, intentions are good. I can guarantee you the engineers working there are top notch. It's just that product manager is stupid. So this was my presentation on basically Panasonic's latest attempt, half-ass attempt, S1 Mark II. Hopefully you have liked it, learned from it. In that case, please click the like button, share it amongst a friend. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I urge you to press dislike. Press it twice to show me excess comment. Please leave a comment because I do try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free. And as always, thanks for watching.